Pemirsa, berikut wawancara eksklusif dengan Duta Besar Inggris untuk Indonesia, Owen Jenkins, terkait hubungan bilateral Inggris-Indonesia, pendidikan, perdagangan, dan investasi Brexit dan kebebasan pers.
Salam Indonesia, pemirsa Indonesia Network kembali berjumpa dalam program wawancara eksklusif, dan kali ini adalah pertemuan yang spesial sekali karena sudah hadir di tengah-tengah kita tamu spesial. Beliau adalah Duta Besar dari Inggris Untuk Indonesia, Mr. Owen Jenkins. Dan hari ini kita akan berbincang-bincang tentang banyak sekali perhubungan persahabatan antara Indonesia dengan Inggris yang ternyata sudah berjalan selama 70 tahun. Dan untuk itu kita langsung saja menyapa Mr. Ambassador kita kali ini, Mr. Owen Jenkins. Hello, His Excellency, how are you?
I'm very well, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you. I'm so honored, and I'm so pleased, and I'm so delighted to have you here.
That's very kind, thank you.
And welcome to Bali, and especially welcome to Indonesia Network, as we had about almost 10 TVs around Indonesia, and it's being transmitted to around Asia Pacific as well Australia.
Fantastic.
So you've been watched by lots of people now.
I'm very honored. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honored. Thank you. And how do you love Bali?
It's been fantastic. It really has. I've only been the ambassador in Indonesia for 3 months, and this is my first official visit to Bali. But already, I've fallen in love with it.
Okay,
it's just a wonderful place. I was lucky enough to have the weekend with my wife and son in Bali, and people were very welcoming. We had a wonderful time, and in the last 2 days when I've been having my official meetings, again, it's been a really positive experience. I think that the people here know how to welcome foreigners, and they know how to engage, and it really seems to me that there is huge potential to do more between the United Kingdom and Bali.
Very, very great started.
Good.
I'm so excited because this is your first visit to Bali, and you already fall in love to Bali.
Exactly.
It means there's something special to Bali. And if we talk about the friendship of UK and Indonesia, it's already been 70 years. It's a great number. So how do you say about that?
It's fantastic. I think it's more than 70 years. The first connections between the United Kingdom and Indonesia go back nearly 500 years when the first British sailors came here.
It's
and we had our first embassy to Aceh back in the 16th century. So it's a wonderful long history. But I think the last 70 years have of course been particularly special with the independent Indonesia, the free Indonesia. And I think that the relationship between the UK and Indonesia is going from strength to strength. I think that historical basis provides it a really fantastic foundation, but we're building on that. And I feel so lucky to be in Indonesia as the British ambassador at a time when I think both countries are really seeing the potential for more cooperation, more engagement, more trade and investment between the two sides. And it goes so much beyond the government relations that one of the things I've loved since I've been in Indonesia is how Indonesian people seem to love British football, British music, British culture, and so on.
Indeed.
And I think those links between people are so much more important than anything that the government does, and I think we have a brilliant foundation in that area too.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Owen, because as you know now, even though my English is not so perfect on grammar and as well, but I have the encouraged to speak in English, because here in Bali we spend lots of time to speak in English because welcoming the international people from around the world. And it's gonna be a good point that I would like to ask to you. What is the sort of cooperation that you are seeking now at the moment to maintaining as well to improving the great relation between Indonesia as well with the UK, especially with Bali?
Yes. Pertama-tama saya harus
you speak in bahasa now.
Ibu lebih berani daripada saya karena ibu berbahasa Inggris, bahasa Indonesia saya belum lancar.
No, it's great.
So please forgive me for speaking in English.
It's luar biasa.
You're very kind. I think there are a whole range of fields where we can improve cooperation between the UK and Indonesia. As I said, it's already very good. I think the bilateral relationship is in good shape, but I think there's a lot more we can do. And the sorts of areas that I've been talking about here in Bali have been how we can work together to improve infrastructure, to work together on renewable energy issues, on waste management, to improve facilities for tourists, to work on security together, and perhaps most importantly to work on education together. That I think, as you've said, Bahasa Inggris is a universal language now.
It's true.
And it's not just a language skill, it's a life skill, particularly for the tourism sector. So a big topic of conversation with Bapak Gubernur, Bapak Wali Kota Denpasar, and Bapak Deputy Bupati of Badung has been how to improve English language skills. So I think there's a big agenda for us to take forward.
Okay. So it's already become your agenda for the near future.
Exactly.
It's great to hear that.
Exactly.
I believe that a lot of the youngsters very excited to get the scholarship for everything, any opportunity to learn more English as well as the skills to go to your country, to UK.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we hope more of them will go to the UK, and I should mention we have a wonderful scholarship scheme for Indonesian students wanting to do master's degrees in the UK. It's the 4th largest scholarship scheme we have in the world for Indonesia, and this year 63 Indonesians will go to the UK to study, 8 of them from Bali, but we'd be very happy if that number were bigger.
Increase, yes.
And the application to go next year is now open and will be open until November, so I encourage all of your listeners who are interested in that opportunity to take up that chance.
Okay, so they need to contact the embassy?
It's all online, so they should go to www.chevening.org and all of the information is there.
Okay, good. Jadi untuk pemirsa yang tertarik sekali untuk belajar bahasa Inggris dan juga mengambil program master di Inggris sana, sudah ada di-announce atau diumumkan pengumuman untuk mengambil scholarship atau beasiswa. Jadi manfaatkan kesempatan ini. So, if we talk about the other sector of the friendship between UK and Indonesia, for example, like on trading relation between the two countries, especially including the tourism area as the the first locomotive business in Bali. What do you say about that?
I say it's going well, but it could go better.
Okay, it could go better.
So trade between the United Kingdom and Indonesia has risen by about 20% over the last 5 years, which is good, but it could be quicker. And I think tourists, British tourists are discovering Bali. We already have about 400,000 British tourists coming to Indonesia every year. About half of those, or a little bit more, come to Bali. But it's growing. We are 4th or 5th, depending on the year, in the ranking. And I think people are realizing quite how much Bali has to offer, that not only is it a wonderful place to come for a relaxing holiday, but also it's a real center for culture, for art, and for sort of international culture. And I think people are discovering those opportunities in Bali as well, and realizing that it's much more perhaps than they had realized before, and I think that's increasing the numbers.
Here, if we talk about tourism in Bali, it means that we straight away talk about the culture as the base of the tourism in Bali. What do you see? How do you see the culture of Bali? I mean, how we are Balinese people, Indonesia people, maintaining our arts, culture to be internationally, but still have the taste of locally. What do you say of that?
I think that you know this much better than I. I'm very new in Bali, but I think one only has to talk to Balinese people to realize that they have a very unique culture, that they are very conscious of where they come from, that the background of Bali as being different from other parts of Indonesia is still very strong, and that's also reflected, I think, in the hospitality which Balinese people show. I have been made amazingly welcome since I've arrived in Bali. Everybody has been very helpful, everybody has been very positive and welcoming to me, and I think that is It's not unique to Bali. I think elsewhere in Indonesia I've had some of the same, but I think it is a very particular feature here. And I think one can go out into the street and see Balinese culture. The temples, the sculptures, the buildings are all very unique. You couldn't go out and think that you were in Jakarta if you come out in Bali. And so I think that the efforts which the local authorities are making to preserve Balinese culture are extremely welcome. And if we can help with that, we will.
It's a good news for us here. And as well, if we talk about the tourism, we also talk about the environment, that now we have lots of garbage, waste, and the management of waste, or what to say, is kind of still lack of skills, lack of management. Is there any space for us as Bali and Indonesia to have a cooperation in that area?
I hope so, and I think it's a problem that we all have. I think anywhere in the world, governments are struggling with this question of how to reduce waste, how to manage waste, how to deal with the waste. And I hope that we have got some experience in the UK which could usefully be shared with Bali. I had very productive conversations with the Governor and with the Mayor of Denpasar on this question, and I hope that there can be cooperation between Bali and the United Kingdom on this, both to reduce waste, which I think is important, but also to manage the waste, whether through waste to energy programs or recycling programs, to make sure that it's used in a better way. So I hope that can be taken forward after my visit.
It's a good hope for us.
It's a good
because
hope.
It's already being blowing up in lots of interviews, and it's the part of the problem is the investor, because to manage the waste as well, to reduce the waste, it need investor. As we know, the investor from your country is a great possibilities. Is there any problem according to what to say, if there is an investor from UK want to invest in Indonesia or in Bali, is there any special problem that struggling or?
There's certainly no struggling, and these conversations are at an early stage, so we don't yet know whether there is one. But I think investors in this area want what any investor wants, which is clarity and certainty. So they want to know what the rules are, what they have to do to abide by them, and they have to have a clear agreement with the local authorities. And I think the Bali authorities are very aware of that and are developing regulations for the management of waste sector, which I think will be very positive. So I think that's what British investors would look for, whether it's in the waste management sector or other sectors. But I've had very productive conversations with Balinese colleagues on those issues, so I'm hopeful that we will have a productive outcome.
Very pleased to hear that. And Mr. Owen, as we heard that Britain has successfully hosted a global conference on freedom of press. So we would like to know, how is the freedom of the press in the UK guaranteed by the government?
This is a really important issue for us, and we were very grateful to Minister Rudiantara for representing Indonesia at that conference, because I think he could share the experience of the Indonesian government with a question that we all struggle with, which is how to balance the freedom of the press with public safety and the need to prevent fake news and hoaxes. So in the UK there is a system of regulation of the press which seeks to allow the press to be free, but also to meet certain standards, and we believe that that's the right way to go about it. Obviously, the rise of the news on internet is much more important, and most people now get their news from their mobile phones, not from a newspaper or even from traditional sources like the BBC. And so I think that presents new challenges for governments who are looking to strike the right balance. And I think Minister Rudiantara was very helpfully able to share the Indonesian experience on that. I don't think the United Kingdom has the answer. I think we are all facing this new challenge and trying to understand this new landscape of media and of where different people get their media from. I think we will find a suitable way of regulating that and ensuring that it's fair and respects people's rights, but I don't think we're there yet, which is why the United Kingdom will continue to push on this point about freedom of expression and freedom of the press as a fundamental basis for reaching that solution.
So, what about Indonesia? What do you say the freedom of press in Indonesia?
Indonesia is a democracy. It has a free and vibrant press. I think the presence of Bali TV, of Bali Pos, and the other parts of this group show quite how active the press is in Indonesia. And I've already met some of our media colleagues in Jakarta, and I think that there too there is a very vibrant and lively media scene. So I don't think there's any fundamental problem with the freedom of the press in a democracy like Indonesia. I think, as in any democracy, as in the United Kingdom, questions arise from time to time as to where the limits lie for that question, and different governments will come to different conclusions. But Indonesia is seeking those within the framework of democracy and the protection of human rights, and I think that's the right way to go about it.
So, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Owen, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
It is very pleased, once again, very pleased to me, and I'm so honored to have you here. And maybe do you need to say something special to Indonesia people, that special hopes regarding the 70 years of friendship, great friendship between UK and Indonesia? So please, you can say it.
Firstly, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
You've been
very
extremely
much.
kind. And to your audience, I would simply say thank you so much to Indonesians for welcoming me into your country. It's been a wonderful experience so far. I think we've had 70 fantastic years of history behind us, and I think that provides a wonderful foundation for building the next 70 years, which I'm sure will be even better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owen.
Terima
Dan
kasih
pemirsa, itulah sesi akhir dari bincang-bincang eksklusif kita bersama Duta Besar Inggris untuk Indonesia, Mr. Owen Jenkins. Dan berbahagia sekali untuk pemirsa Indonesia Network, saksikan terus wawancara eksklusif kita dengan tamu lainnya. Untuk itu, kami tutup dengan Parama Santi. Om Santi, 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 Om. Salam Indonesia. Sampai jumpa. Once again, thank you, Mr.
Thank you very
Owens.
much indeed.